The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Whoa, now. What's happening, good people? What's going on with you? How you doing for a Tuesday? Man, it's a lot going on in the city. It's a lot going on in the world. And we're going to talk about it for the next 2 hours. I know everybody and their mom is talking about all the war secrets that's gone over an app that was been shared. Everybody say, what? Yeah. Just in case you don't know what in the world is going on, let me give you the story first so that I can hear all of you all's comments about this, and are you worried about it? So you got a whole bunch of folks now that are new to this administration that don't have a clue on what they're supposed to talk about. That's secret. They're not supposed to put it on certain things to secure unsecured documents or unsecured networks or whatever. But several of President Trump's top national security folks, at times with assistance from the top Senate Republican, shifted responsibility to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth for sending potentially classified information that appeared in a group chat about U.S. military strikes in Yemen that a journalist was also included in the text. What? Yeah. Under sharp questioning from outraged Democrats on the Senate Intelligence Committee, CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard repeatedly denied that the chat contained classified information. There were no classified or intelligence equities that were included in that chat group at any time. Gabbard testified under oath. Ratcliffe was similarly adamant about denials of various points during Tuesday's hearing. But when pressured on whether the sensitive operation details for the forthcoming strikes against Iran-backed militants that Hegseth reportedly sent to the thread were classified, both top intelligence officials deferred to Defense Secretary. With respect to the assertions and allegations that were striped packages or targeting information or things that relate to DOD, as they pointed out, the Secretary of Defense is the original classification authority for determining whether something is classified or not. And I've understood from media reports, the Secretary of Defense has said the information was not classified. Asked if such information should be classified, Gabbard told the committee, I defer to the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Council on that question. It was a stubble, an arm's length of once Trump's most controversial and least experienced cabinet members. Most of the group thread reported on Monday by The Atlantic included general foreign policy discussion about the wisdom of the March strikes, certainly sensitive deliberations among top officials that the U.S. government would normally want to keep private, but likely not classified. But Hegseth's text, which reportedly included operational details of forthcoming strikes on Yemen, including information about targets, weapons the U.S. would be deploying, and attack sequencing, have drawn the most attention. Multiple current and former defense officials have said that any discussion of the timing targets of weapons systems to be used in an attack is also always classified because of the potential risks of U.S. service members' lives if those plans are revealed prematurely. The Signal, the encrypted messaging platform that the officials were using, is a commercial app that is not approved for classified information. Let me say that again. They were using a commercial app that is not approved for classified information. And at one point during Tuesday's hearing, Republican Senator Tom Cotton, chairman of the Intelligence Committee, interjected with the dais, from the dais to suggest that Gabbard and Ratcliffe were drawing a distinction in between military intelligence information that is classified under the Defense Secretary's authority and information that is collected and controlled by the civilian intelligence community like the CIA. They testified, correct me if I'm wrong. There is no intelligence community classified information, Cotton said. So that's correct, Ratcliffe and Gabbard both said. I can again confirm that the respect to the communications that were related as to me, there was no classified information. From the dais, at least one Democrat objected, pointing out that Ratcliffe and Gabbard had both testified that there was no classified information at all contained in the text exchange. Hegspeth denied on Monday evening that war plans were discussed over text, despite the Trump administration's early acknowledgement that the messages appeared authentic. Nobody was texting war plans. And that's all I have to say about that, Hegspeth told reporters when asked about those details were inadvertently shared with the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg after landing at Joint Base Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The defense secretary also took jabs at the journalist, who he described as a deceitful and highly discredited. Trump told reporters on Tuesday that there were no classified information released, and as I understand, it shared on a signal chain, but declined to say who told him the information was not classified. So, as I go on about this here story, it makes me reach back. These are the same folks, as your leader had stated earlier, about putting information out there that said that he would never share information about war plans or any other top secret information when they were hollering, lock Hillary Clinton up. Lock her up. Lock her up. Well, your folks are sharing secrets, military warpaths on an unclassified app. I'd like to know what the app was and what the chat was. Or should I say, what app were y'all chatting on? Was it? No, I ain't gonna say that. Y'all know we be chatting on here. I wonder what they chatting on neighbor next door. But it appeared in a chat group about Yemen. And all the U.S. folks are like, oh my God, y'all are reacting with shock. Because the Atlantic said the top members of Donald Trump's cabinet sent detailed operations plans and other highly likely classified information about military strikes in Yemen. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the difference in what they were saying about this unclassified server that Hillary Clinton had? And everybody started hollering, lock her up, lock her up. Well, what about your folks? But what about your folks? Now, here's the question I got. Because my question, I think my question is legit. Since there is control of, let's see, the Senate, since there's control of the House, since there's control of the FBI, since there's control of the CIA, the NAACP. No, I ain't going to say the NAACP. I'm going to take that out. Who's going to do the investigation? That's what I'd like to know. Who's doing the investigation? Denial, denial, denial. Keep denying, keep denying, keep denying until you say you're lying. Keep denying until you say you're lying. Even though that rhymes, that's what it seems to be. That seems to be the words of the day. Keep denying even though you're lying. And let's see what comes out of it. What you say, T-Bone?
Good evening, y'all. I'm glad you hit this topic because I've been following it off and on today. And if there's any other IT people within the sound of my voice and you feel like chiming in, please add on, because I'm going to hit this from an IT perspective for these non-IT folk that answer those questions and seem to be in trouble, like Podesta back in the day, like you're saying, G.
Mm-hmm.
So let me explain from an IT perspective. What happened with Hillary Clinton and those emails was that she had a server that was in the clear. In other words, nothing was encrypted. If you had the password to the server, you could get to it, or any IT person who knows their soul could actually get in that server and read every last one of those emails because that was not encrypted. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with text messaging? Some text services have stuff that is encrypted that is what we call not in the clear. Meaning, if somebody is driving by and they happen to have that app, or they happen to have another app that can translate that stuff in the clear, they can read it. But if it's encrypted, they cannot. That's the difference. Now, the app they were using is called Signal. Signal is a open app, meaning the stuff is not encrypted. So anybody could have been driving by or boosted a signal on a cell phone and intercepted everything.
Yep.
That is why it is a highly volatile security issue. That is why these people did not want to admit whether it was classified or unclassified. This is why when you saw them, they all looked like they swallowed about 12,000 frogs in front of the committee. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
This goes all the way back to why these people should not have been nominated to be in those positions at all. At all.
Mm-hmm.
They should not have that kind of clearance. They should not be using those types of apps on their phone.
And it's not it's not a clearance through the U.S. government. Signal is not an app that has been cleared for top secret or any other encrypted information, because encrypting just because you say it's encrypted doesn't necessarily mean they still can't download it and send it over to their hackers and whoever's hackers in another country, and they can uncrypt it.
They were using their personal devices on this. That's what happened. The government has devices that encrypt everything. The computers, cell phones, cell calls, everything. They were using their personal devices, folks. And that's a huge no-no.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about security clearances, when you're talking about data security, at that level.
But why are you discussing the war packages against Yemen and the Houthis at all in a link of text messages on a unsecured, well, they say it's secure, but there's an unsecured, not approved by the federal government app, and talking about it?
Because they fired people that would have told them not to.
Yep, I agree.
The cybersecurity people that would have told them, the federal law enforcement people that would have told them, the Pentagon people that would have told them, sir, ma'am, you cannot use this app. You cannot use it within the White House. You cannot use it within the Pentagon. You cannot use it on federal grounds. As a matter of fact, you should not use your personal devices on any of these premises.
Now, what has been stated to them is the fact that you should be acting like somebody is trying to follow you, get your information at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they all been told that.
This is as bad as leaving top secret documents on your coffee table.
Yep.
And inviting somebody from a foreign country, no matter where,
to step on. Come on,
and
by.
it's just sitting there.
Oh yeah, and I gotta go to
and
the
it's
bathroom.
sitting there
I'll
next
be
to
right
a
back.
cup of coffee, some coasters, and you just leaving it there.
I'll be back.
That's
I gotta go
how
to the
bad
bathroom.
this is.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And you just leave it there on the
That,
table.
That's This is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
This is horrible.
Now,
People go through lengthy background checks
right,
of almost
to
a
get those
year or two
clearances. Right.
to get those clearances.
Yep. Now, T-Bone, one of the things that made me go, wait a minute, is the fact that the story says it's not only the war packages that came out against the Houthis in Yemen when they did that, it's also the war packages about what's to come. And I said, wait a minute. The war packages that included the type of weapons they're going to use, the timing that they're going to do this, who they're going against. And I was like, wait a minute, this information was given out too? So what's ever to come, if there is anything to come in the future, we just put all of our men and women in harm's way.
If they haven't already deployed something, then they have to cut it.
Yep.
They have to pull it.
You got
because it's become public knowledge.
Yep. Somebody gonna put it out there.
And that's the problem with this. That's why these people should not be in charge, folks. And if you ain't alarmed by this, picture this for a second. Picture that those same people that read this, that they was trying to strike against, hit us like 9/11.
Yep.
Hello.
There you go. All right, T-Bone. Thank you, brother.
All right, y'all. I hope some IT people come in and add on. Thanks, y'all.
All right, brother. Talk to you in a minute. All right, Mr. Elmore, hold on. We coming back. We got more in just a minute, y'all. Everybody hold tight. The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. My number 504-582-9422. Mr. Elmo, you've been holding for a minute. How you doing, sir?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Well, what I seen was very disturbing because we have an administration that's not that pick people. Not only they sort of they're incompetent, but they don't look like they have any respect for the rule of law. That's very disturbing to me, man. I mean, you have someone that, and that's what dictators do. They pick people, yes men, yes ladies, and they just do what they want. And whatever checks and balances we have in terms on the judicial legislative branch, they better wake up because, I mean, I'm laughing, it's not funny. We better wake up, man, because we for a very rude, disturbing 3.5-4 years when Trump's in there. It's going to be very, very disturbing, you know.
Well, I don't think this will be the first hiccup. But my question is, and I still stay by this, I know what you're saying, but I want to add this to what you just said. Who's the checker of the checkers? Who's checking up on them?
Well,
they deny. They all in denial.
Well, I got to give it to Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, I listened to her very closely before she was picked in that position. She's very smooth. She would not say no way, form, or fashion to admit that anything that they did was wrong. You got to give it to her. she's smooth. I mean, she's not the smartest tool of shit, but she knows when to keep her mouth shut. You know.
So I'm sorry. Wait a minute. You giving her credit for that?
No. I said I got to give. I said she's smart enough to understand to keep her mouth shut. She never did incriminate herself, no way from a fashion drawer. That's what I'm saying, brother.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, all of them seem to be the same way, but my point is, what we don't understand is, evidently, all of them got the same person doing the coaching on the talking points, because they all have the same conversation pieces. Meaning that if I'm telling you that it's unencrypted information and it's nothing to worry about, then the other person is going to say the same thing. And then the other person, including Trump, because Trump said, I didn't know nothing about it at all. But that's what he always said. That's his talking point. I have no knowledge. But you know good and damn well that them folks ain't operating unless he know everything that's going on. They don't want to piss off the Dawn. So you're trying to tell me that all these folks, these are your national advisors from the CIA, the DOD, none of these folks, your top advisors, none of them can sit up there and tell you what it is, and then you're gonna have your top Department of Defense person to sit up there and say nothing was done, and I'm done with that. Like, we ain't supposed to ask no questions. I'm like, whoa, Jeffrey Goldberg is not just a no ordinary little journalist that just got out of high school. Jeffrey Goldberg is a journalist that's been around at the Atlantic for a long time and has done some amazing stories before. And they're trying to paint him like he's just, disgruntled, unimportant, nothing. I'm like, this is their MO.
Well, that's the thing that it's not even funny. I mean, listen, you're trying to blame. It's amazing how they try to flip the switch, if you will, the script, if you will. Try to blame him, make him the whipper boy. And they said the information.
Yeah, but they included him. They included
the man
him.
said, wait, man, I didn't want that information. It came to me.
But,
and I mean, I listened to it, but I mean, I realized I'm a smart enough to understand. I was getting some information I didn't think was something I should need to listen to because it was not kosher for me to listen to. And you want to make it look like he done something wrong,
Yeah. That's what they did. They tried to make him look like he did something wrong.
And that's classic love. That's classic Trump. That's clear. But the thing that people need to understand, Gerard, if you're a pretty smart young man, you understand the federal government how it works. The federal government, how it really works, is not so much when the new president is cabinet and the senior people he picked. It's the career employees. So that's why he purged the career employees, brother, because he feels that if he did that, these fools could just do what they want. Those career employees really got to give them to them. They're not political. I mean, they work for the American people, and they really try to do the best to do the thing right, non-political. But Trump wanted to make it political. So really, what he did, he purged the people he felt that was sort of aligned with his mega Trump thinking, so they could just do what they want. Now, unless the federal government, when I mean the federal government, I mean,
what are you talking about? What do you mean? He purged them?
He got rid of a lot of people, career employees.
No. So let me correct you on that part. He purged them, but he didn't just get rid of a whole bunch of employees that were lifetime employees. He got a lot of employees that just started. They were on probation. Got a lot of them because they're the least to be able to have a fight in the game. Because you don't have tenure, you don't have all of the years of service, you don't have nothing to come back and say you got rid of a tenured person or somebody that has, I would even go as far as saying senior citizen type of protections. You don't have none of that. You just basically just started within a year or two. So you got rid of those first.
Well, I understand. Well, I do understand that.
Then the other part of that
employees
is
that buckled down.
But listen to me.
That didn't need the book.
Listen to me for a minute. And what it is those are the same folks that may have voted for him in the first place. So now you got a whole bunch of career employees that are disgruntled, that are going against him, that are hollering and screaming, standing out there protesting, the whole deal. It don't have nothing to do with politics. That's Elon Musk with that crap. And it's all an algorithm. And they're trying to give them buyouts. But the judges and all those that are more, I think, more intelligent than that are saying that don't believe the buyout issue. You're going to send an email that says, yeah, I want out, and they'll be able to use that against you in the future. Don't believe the buyout. Have you heard of anybody receiving a certain amount of money to say I ain't coming back yet?
I haven't.
Nope. I can tell you that's coming next. Those folks are going to be mad next because now you're not without any money. You don't have a job. You waiting for a check to come, and nothing's coming. Hell, we need to watch out because we thinking the IRS is getting ready to send our tax refunds. That's going to be held up too. Just watch. Next month, and let's see, next month is what, April? April and May is going to be interesting around here. And that's what's coming. So I don't think that it's necessarily the folks that they saw and that they, vetted and said, well, yeah, we need to get rid of them first. I just think it's an algorithm, and that algorithm is from a whole bunch of little kids that are computer geeks that are working on the Doge. Because if you don't believe me, think about this part too. You keep hearing about Doge, but have you seen them? Have you seen any of those folks that work under Doge? No. All they saying is Elon Musk's crew. And he's losing money out of his yin yang. He don't care. His stock done went all the way down. They're burning up the Teslas, setting the dealerships on fire. His whole world is imploding. But if you got $400 billion, you don't care about one or two?
Well, again, I heard talking to a guy, and he made a good point. He said, Elmo, he said, let me tell you something. He said, when you look at what's going down and watch, or just watch, he said, watch the news, man, and just watch to see. Not that I wish this to happen, he said, but all those white folks, and I'm not being racist by saying this, but a lot of the conservative mega white folks who vote for Trump, be careful what you wish for, because you wish for you ain't gonna like. Now all of a sudden, they don't like what he's doing. All of a sudden, oh boy, they ticked off and pissed.
Yeah,
I'm not wishing it on anybody this door, but I think it's amazing about society. If it was me and you complaining and saying we malcontents, we communists and we against our government, but those white folks are complaining. Look, the white folks complain. Guess what? Something's gonna get done sooner or later.
Oh yeah, they showing up at all of their
and I'm not laughing at this funny, Joel, but I'm just saying they don't respect us. But those white folks are saying something. They talking loud. They saying something. Guess what? Sooner or later something's gonna happen.
And I go through history. All right, now this is going to sound terrible to some folks, but I always go through history. And if you look at the history of America, the history of America has never really been about making some type of concession and sitting around and trying to figure it out. The history of America is when everybody's pissed off and folks are ready to get in the street. When these are our Caucasian brothers and sisters, there's usually a fight that happens, a war that happens, a brawl that happens. It's coming. And all you got to do is look at some of these town hall meetings that they're having with their representatives. These folks are BS'd.
To the least, brother.
So we need to be sitting back and wondering what's going to happen here in Louisiana, though, and start going to some of these meetings. So I did this on Friday. Let me see. I think Candace Newell, Representative Knox, and Representative Delisha Boyd are going to be here to discuss these amendments, because I need to make sure that everybody understands them completely, because Saturday is election day. And if you haven't done your early voting, you need to make sure that you are getting out there to vote on Saturday. So all three of them will be here on Friday.
Well, Joel, could I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm out of the loop with this. The sports show that we normally listen to, does that still come on? Because I haven't been, I have,
Nope.
there's another time shift?
Nope. Does not.
Okay, brother.
I wish I could tell you
need-
more, but you know,
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I would
right.
tell you to call management and ask them.
Yeah, because like I said, I see maybe something wrong with me, but I just noticed
No, sir, you
the
are correct.
format.
Ain't nothing wrong
In the
with you.
daytime, I listen to Tavis. In the daytime, Tavis has changed too. So he says daytime now, So I say maybe I'm out of the loop because normally I catch you.
You
And
all
the
right?
reason why I was shocked,
You ain't crazy.
no, I'm not. No, sir. Because I said, hey, you call me crazy?
You ain't crazy. You perfectly fine. Your senses are
Yes,
all
sir.
well.
Thank you, love. Thank you. Give me more credit there, brother.
Ain't nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you at all.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Elmore. Thank
Thank
you
you,
much.
Gerald.
I appreciate you.
All right, brother.
Take care.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you too. Thank you, man.
All right, 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. I got to give up to Jeffrey Goldberg. Well, who is Jeffrey Goldberg? Jeffrey Goldberg is the journalist that was included in that text chain that he didn't know he was receiving all this information about this war package. I got to give him some credit. Maybe a whole lot more credit than the officials that were doing the texting in the first place. Why? Because as a journalist, you got a once in a life opportunity to publish all this stuff, and he chose not to. He chose not to. Somebody called me the other day when I was talking about this. Well, not the other day, but yesterday when I was talking about this and reading up on it, and they asked me, what would you have done? They still be talking about me. Because I probably would have published it. This is what our folks are doing. This is the Stripe package. Here's what they said. Here's what they're saying right now. I didn't ask for this. They included it in the text change, and they gave it to me. The Atlantic reported that Hegseth sent precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. Precise information. Would you have, if you are a reporter, would you have published it? Your stock just went way up. Would you have published it? Yes, indeed. BW. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, G.
What's going on?
How's it going?
How you doing, brother?
All right. Look, you had just mentioned about the election on this coming Saturday.
Mhm.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Would you put any stock in the early voting numbers? Because I have this to give to your listeners. Okay, on the early voting or statewide, only 6%
Yep.
of the registered voters have even bothered to vote.
Yep.
6%.
That's actually lower than the last early voting numbers and complete of the last voting numbers, not just early voting, but even including
Right.
early voting numbers with the primary numbers. In the
Right.
last election, we saw 9% of people. It didn't even get into
Right.
double digits.
And you know what? For Orleans Parish, that was only about around about 7.7%.
Yep.
For Orleans Parish, for Jefferson, it's about 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
And in a St. Tammany, it's at a 7.2, and for East Baton Rouge, or 7.49. So,
So
what does that tell you?
It's working in their favor.
Oh, okay.
It's not working in our favor. It's working in their favor. So I know that on off elections, we would consider this Saturday coming up an off election.
Right.
There's not going to be a runoff. There's
Right.
not a whole bunch of hoopla about somebody running for office. I think there might be one or two parishes where somebody is running for office.
Mm-hmm.
But the big state issue are those amendments. So
Right.
as important as those amendments are, you would think that I want an election that everybody is going to go out and vote. But it does not work that way when I need to get those amendments passed. See, I got my
Right.
group of people that's automatically going to go out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that the other folks got other things going on and they're not interested in this because it's just the amendments.
Okay.
So you're going to have low voter turnout. I hate saying that. You're going to hold,
Yeah.
because as you look at those amendments, these are some important amendments.
They are.
They are
They are.
really important. And if I
And
got
then-
low voter turnout, I'm more than likely going to
I
get them
got you.
passed.
And something else too. There will be another referendum in May regarding the
Millage?
Orleans Parish
Yeah, the millage.
jail.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
And
let me explain that to
and
you.
that
So-
might go down the same rabbit hole. You
Uh,
think?
I hope not. So I'm explaining it to you because I've been in those meetings. I
Yeah.
consider myself privileged to be in those meetings and kind of got the information, but I'm not usually at all the person to explain it. As a matter of fact, I
Yeah.
asked the chief, John Williams, who is the chief of staff at OPSO, to come in and sit down and have a conversation with us about that millage, because
Yeah.
people need to understand this is not a millage that's an increase.
Mm-hmm.
This is a renewal of a millage
Okay.
to keep the jail where it is. Now,
Okay.
the sheriff fought against several different things with the jail, and that was that new extension. And the reason why
Right.
she fought against that new extension, which is the mental health issues, not because she don't think that nobody needs mental health. She wanted to save the people of New Orleans some extra money. Now you
Okay.
got to hire a whole new set of guards. You got a healthcare system that we had to find, which WellPath was it before. Now it's LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And that's multi-millions. I think that's somewhere near 60 to 80 million. I forgot exactly what the numbers are. Don't quote me on it.
Mhm.
And now you're talking about a jail they're building that's going to probably be another millage that's going to cost the citizens of New Orleans somewhere close to $100 million.
Oh boy.
So she was fighting against it in court. She lost, but she tried.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
think that some of the communication and getting the people to support her instead of supporting I shouldn't have to go to jail to get mental health help.
Right.
And that's what we have here in Orleans Parish.
Yeah.
So we're telling the folks that, oh, yeah, we're going to have this 80-bed facility, but you got to go to jail to get help.
So we'll take advantage of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's so
Wow.
wrong, but that lets me know that's what they think about us.
Okay.
So I didn't know no other way to tell her. And when I kind of said that to the sheriff, she looked at me and she just shook her head. She said, "We need to find a better way to tell that story." I said, "No, sometimes you got to hit people in the head, let them know that this is, even though it hurts, this is what happens."
Yeah. And when you think about it, Gerard, when you actually can go back about 20 years since Katrina, all of those problems have really been exposed
Yep.
since Katrina.
Yep. And What has changed? Nothing.
Mm.
Nothing has changed because we don't have the advocacy of folks that are fighting against them in the first place. So we took away, when Bobby Jindal was there, they took away mental health throughout the city. Remember, it wasn't this bad when we had charity. We knew where to go.
Right.
You got third floor charity. You know,
Third
everybody
floor.
knew.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
We all knew that. But then when we went back to fixed charity, remember, they didn't. They still have not fixed charity as of today.
Right.
So where do
20
you
years
go?
Later.
And that was taken away. I know some other places across the North Shore were taken away. And we had nowhere to really go. And those families that needed to support that person with mental health help, they really couldn't do so because they didn't have the transportation to keep going back and forth all over the North Shore. So what do you do? Well, I can tell you, I'm gonna get them in here to have that conversation. Don't worry, I'm gonna make sure you get the information.
Good deal. All right, G.
All right, appreciate you much. Talk to you in a minute.
All
right, folks, more coming up in a minute. Everybody hold tight.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK 1230 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
The New Orleans Teacher Job Board is hosting a citywide career fair for current and future educators. Explore open school positions, teacher certification pathways, and career growth opportunities. The career fair will take place this Saturday, April 5th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. at Walter L. Cohen High School. Visit newschoolsforneworleans.org for more information and registration.
In recognition of Women's History Month, WBOK 1230 AM presents Her Story Spotlight, honoring extraordinary women whose achievements have redefined what's possible.
March is Women's History Month, a month dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the contributions of women to our society. This is Kimber White Dupree, sharing information about Dorothy May Taylor. Dorothy May de Lavallade Taylor was an educator and politician in New Orleans, the first African-American woman to be elected to serve in the Louisiana House of Representatives. From 1971 to 1980, she represented District 20, since renumbered in her native New Orleans. She had started her career as a teacher in the Head Start program, designed to benefit children in their early years. She was also active in civil rights in the 1950s and 1960s, gaining more resources for facilities for African Americans in the city. She worked in issues of healthcare, childcare, racial discrimination, and inhumane conditions in state prisons. As director of the Central City Neighborhood Health Clinic from 1980, she also worked to develop African American leaders among her staff and mentored a number of future politicians in the state. In 1984, she was appointed by Governor Edwin Edwards as head of state of the Department of Urban and Community Affairs, becoming the first African American woman to hold a cabinet position. Taylor began her career in public service in the Parent-Teacher Association, demanding equal supplies and funding for African American children from the Orleans Parish School Board. She was vital to the desegregation of New Orleans Recreation Department as well as other voter registrations. Ms. Taylor's most memorable contribution was to have authored an ordinance insisting that all Mardi Gras crews stop discriminating and institute an open admission policy for anyone seeking to join their organizations if they chose to use the city services to hold their parades. The reaction to this ordinance was swift and downright vicious. Old Line crews threatened to end Mardi Gras by refusing to parade if this ordinance was enforced. Ms. Taylor held public hearings that forced the club members to answer questions that they didn't even ask in private. Dorothy Mae Taylor, a woman of influence, a woman of power, a woman in history.
WBOK 1230 AM celebrates Women's History Month and the visionaries and innovators who broke barriers and paved the way for generations to come.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back. So BW done kicked off something here. So let me give you this. I'm going parish by parish here. So let's see. So they broke down the statewide early voting statistical report. Jefferson Parish. Where's Jefferson Parish? Jefferson Parish. Number 26. So far, votes in that race, 17,614. White, 11,107. Black people, 5,548. Other, 959. In Jefferson Parish, males that voted so far 6,734. Women 10,877. And we break down the parties in the Democratic Party in Jefferson Parish, 8,850 folks. The Republican Party 5,792. Other 2,972. Let's see where New Orleans is. Orleans Parish. Folks that have already voted, 20,566. That's early voting. White people, 6,845. Blacks, 12,563. Other, 1,158. Males that have voted early, 7,153. Females, 13,389. Democrats that voted, 16,638. Republicans, 1,035. Other party, 2,893. Let's see. Where else we need to go? East Baton Rouge. East Baton Rouge actually in early voting beat Orleans Parish with 21,903. 11,573 white people voted. 9,605 black people voted. Other 724. Males 8,461. Females 13,410. Democrats 12,144. Republicans 6,382. And other party 3,376. Let's see, where is St. John the Baptist? Wow. Only 2,230 people in St. John the Baptist voted, early voted. 420 of them white, 1,771 of them black, 39 other. Males, 760 folks. Females, 1,470. Democrats, 1,837. Republicans, 194. Anybody else I'm really missing in this? Let's do St. Charles. St. Charles Parish. 1,990 folks early voted. 1,208 were white, 733 black, 49 other. Males, 797. Females, 1,193. Democrats, 1,025. Republicans, 682. And other was 283. So they broke down all the parishes. If I haven't called yours and you listening and you want me to break down your parish if you didn't hear it, please call me, 504-582-9422. I'll be more than happy to give you the statistics. So, is that an indicator? Yes, I would say yes. Well, why would you think that is a indicator? And y'all need to understand something. I'm just statistically, I am not a statistician. I do not do that at all. But I'm looking around and saying to myself, with low numbers, and you had a whole week to go and vote, gives me ideas of what to expect. When you have a parish that has over 300,000 voters in it, and you only have 20,000 folks out of that 350-some thousand folks that are registered to go vote, and they got a whole week to do it. You can't make no type of. And then again, I can't say that because I'm guilty too. Well, Gerard, did you go early vote? Nope, I did not. Well, why didn't you? Because I like going voting on election day. I've always been that way. Now, if I know I got something else to do or I got to go out of town, I'll go early vote. But I like going and pulling that lever on election day. So Saturday, I know I got to go vote, and I'm going to get up and go vote. But there's a lot of other folks that ain't going to go vote. Or they're going to say they're going to vote and forget. So I think that's the reason why. Now, tonight, there's something that is going on that I hope that you will go see. I'm going to try to get him on the phone and see if we can have him to call. He came in and did it earlier this week and talked about it, last week. But I want him to remind folks, because if you're not up on these amendments, then you need to be up on the amendments, and they're going to do that tonight at his church. Dr. Torrance Sanders, Reverend Dr. Torrance Sanders is going to host a meeting this evening. And I think that's 6 or 6:30. I think it's 6:30 over at the 6th Baptist Church off of Felicity. I'm trying to get him on the phone so he can just do a reminder. So if you have not voted, but you're planning on voting on Saturday and you are still a little stuck on these amendments, this would be the perfect opportunity for you to go and see for yourself. But Friday, we're going to have the state reps and the caucus come on up in here and tell us what to do. Is it yay for something, nay for all of them, whatever? And they're going to explain it to you from the rooter to the tutor. That is going to be this Friday. Delisha Boyd is going to be here. Candace Noel is going to be here. I think Representative Knox is going to come, and probably some more. So we'll see. That is going to be Friday right here on WBOK. All right, we got more coming up in a minute. We'll try to get Dr. Torrance Sanders on the phone just to explain what's going to happen tonight, to give us some insight. So y'all hold tight. And please ask questions if you don't know. If you don't know, ask the questions. Don't assume nothing, especially if you've read some of this crap. Don't assume, all right? Coming up, news is next. We'll come back after 5 o'clock and give you some insight. So make sure that you keep it locked in right here on WBOK.
campus of Xavier University.
Look.
WBOK 1230 AM. Go. And Equity Media Station.
I'm Esther Dillard with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson floated the possibility of Congress eliminating some federal courts. NBC News reports it's the latest attack by Republicans after some judges blocked a series of actions taken by the Trump administration. As of 2024, President Biden appointed 63 black judges to lifetime positions. Black folks who signed up to find out where in Africa they come from with 23andMe know the genetic testing company filed for bankruptcy, so experts warn you should delete your data. In Chicago, a 15-year-old boy is accused of beating and stabbing black 16-year-old Kayla Love. Police accuse him of leaving her body in a park on Chicago's west side. And Queen of Soul Aretha Franklin was born on this date in 1942. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Live meeting that's going to happen tonight is going to be over at the Sixth Baptist Church off of Felicity. You all know him just as good as anybody else. Our good friend, Dr. Torrance Sanders, Reverend Dr. Torrance Sanders is going to be hosting that at Sixth Baptist Church. I'm trying to get him to call us and give us some insight, but also got a message, too, from former Councilman Arnie Filko that they're also going to be reviewing amendments he and Carrie tonight at 6 p.m. So you might want to make sure that you check out the Arnie and Carrie show that is coming on directly at 6 o'clock. You won't want to miss this. Don't miss it. So there we go. So what are you voting? And what have you voted for? Are you saying nope to all the amendments? Are you saying yes to some of them, all of them? What are you saying? There has always been this stigma, if that's a good word to use, on off elections. Some important amendments come through. And because folks know that it is low voter turnout, they put it through. And there's nothing we can do about it because folks won't go and vote. So as I looked at these early voting statistics, the numbers, whether we're looking at black folks, white folks, male, female, whatever parish, it's interesting to me. You would think that the larger parish, like a Orleans parish, would be the number one place in the state that had the most voter turnout. And it's not. What? Yeah. You would think that Orleans Parish would have the biggest turnout of early voting than any other parish, and it's not true. It's not. We are like number 3? Let's see, number 1 is East Baton Rouge Parish. Number 2, we're number 2, is Orleans Parish. Number 3 is Jefferson Parish. And then there's St. Tammany Parish. St. Tammany Parish had 14,377 votes, early votes. 11,772 of them were white folks, 1,909 black folks, 696 were other. 6,333 people were male, 8,044 were female, 4,517 were Democrats, 6,954 were Republican, and 2,906 were other. So you would think that because of our numbers with over 300,000 folks, that we'd be, closely represented either Orleans or Jefferson Parish, because I think we share a lot of the folks. You either moving back and forth to Jefferson Parish or Orleans Parish. So I think that we share a lot of folks. And East Baton Rouge had the biggest number, which was 21,902 altogether. Why is that? And I've noticed in this situation that even one or two of the TV stations are now doing little 10-second blurbs, 10-second blurbs for you to say, hey, make sure you vote this Saturday. I don't know if you all have noticed that, which was good, and I think it's good, but it was different. I haven't seen that in a while. Or I wasn't paying attention, and I pay attention. So I've seen, one of the stations say, hey, look, make sure you get out and vote Saturday. I guess the question was, did you see that during early voting, though? I did not. But I did see folks say, hey, get out and vote this Saturday. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. And with all the misinformation that is out here, I'm thinking to myself, as we get down to the nitty-gritty of what these amendments could mean, how about if it was said in, I don't know, somebody's verbiage, somebody could put it in verbiage and make you say, if they get rid of, and now think about it, this is amendment number 3? Where they're talking about your kid being able to be charged with felonies. They want to redo the felony list. So if they want to redo the felony list, what do you do, or what did that preview list look like beforehand? So I got those 16 felonies and it's like, oh, yeah, these are terrible. They're terrible. Murder, rape. They're terrible for a felony list. Okay, we got that already. It's already established. But why would you want to redo it? So there's a level of distrust in what's coming out of Baton Rouge right now. And that level of distrust to me is going to make everybody go, oh, no. Why would you want to go back and redo the felony list? Because nobody's giving the information of what that felony list is going to look like. So you could put some things on that felony list that I know that my child, your child, anybody else's child could get involved in. And guess what? Your child could ruin their entire life with a felony. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't trust it. And if I don't trust it and I'm looking at it with an eye in the back of my head, I hope you are too. All right. That's the first thing that I said. Trust in what's coming out of here. Secondly, my governor's relationship with what's happening out of Washington, D.C. is scary. Because we seem to want to mirror a lot of this stupidity that is coming out of Washington. Oh, look how they just they're going breaking down this, breaking down that. Oh, we redoing the budget. Oh, look at that. We're firing people and giving them no indicator on what's going to come next. And while you're talking about we're cutting down the budget, are we really cutting down the budget when you're going to have thousands of folks that are now going to the unemployment line that have no way of saying that, oh, yeah, by the way, this is where you can go to work next? So what's going to happen, and I'm telling you, this is going to be April, May. April, May, we're going to look, and the unemployment rate going to go up. Unemployment rate going to go up. The cost of living and people trying to just get eggs. You think eggs is high. Wait till they can't get bread. And do you all remember that everything just got haywire after what was this? After COVID, and it got so haywire that we had so much misinformation coming out that we couldn't even get toilet paper. Y'all remember this? Yo, let's not act like this just happened 5-10 years ago. This wasn't 10 years ago. We were all going to the store trying to stock up on Charmin. I was looking for Mr. Whipple. For our young folks, Mr. Whipple was an imaginary man that knew how to squeeze the Charmin, all right? Just need to explain that to y'all. Because I know that somebody in the car just asked their mom and daddy, who's Mr. Whipple? It's okay. It's all right. I know we telling our age. So we create a whole bunch of stuff. We won't have no toilet paper. We looking for eggs. I'm about to try to find me a couple of hens that are egg-laying hens. We gonna make us some money and try to keep them away from that bird flu. And I'm just thinking to myself, yo, we got all this stuff going on and we are sitting back just waiting. But I can tell you what I don't trust. And what I don't trust is why are we changing the amendments to the Constitution, or trying to, and for what reason? Because you're trying to mimic, or you're trying to look like your stepdaddy? I'm sorry. Cleaning up government is a whole lot more than just trying to be the czar of government. And that's what I see. I don't trust it, and I hope you don't either. Because I will tell you this too. Don't think that they're not coming after you with your Medicare, your Medicaid, your food stamps, the whole deal. But I bet you if we put out a rumor, misinformation saying, oh, yeah, they get ready to take away your snaps. They get ready to take away your snaps. I bet you everybody and their mama be standing on line like Obama was running again. They taking away your snap. And it's interesting to me that we have folks that are very judgmental, that like to go into the grocery stores, they like to go into the Walmarts, they like to go into those stores that have generic brands, and we don't look at them, we look at the food that they put in their shopping carts, and we judge them if they look poor. What do you mean if they look poor, Gerard? Well, okay, let me rephrase that. If they look like us and they're not dressed the best, they got kids running around, they got on some, what do you call those things? Bonnets on their heads. We judge them if they got a full basket. And we wonder, how do them poor people go in here and be shopping for all of this food? But statistics show, now let me make sure that I say this correctly because you know somebody tried to check me on it. Statistics show that the folks that use SNAP benefits, that are depending on the government to give them a monthly stipend, you got your Louisiana card, that's the SNAP benefits, your EBT card, all of that, don't look like me and you. The majority of them are the ones that said, put him back in office. And the same person you're yelling about that should be back in office that you got is the one that's going to cut your stuff off altogether. You're going to be wondering what we going to do. How we going to do it? Lord, we don't have no benefits. That's the same person that did it to you. You jugged yourself. And the famous words of Howard Collins, you got that jug. I'm sorry, Howard, I used that. You got that jug. Think about something, y'all, for a minute. Do you really think that Elon Musk gives a damn about you? So much to the point where some people now are crying, hollering foul, showing up at their representatives' meetings and why are y'all listening to him? You put him in office. Y'all voted. We were straight down party lines. We divided. We ain't had no swing states. They swung the other way. I'm telling you. And they're going to say that this is going to be the greatest thing since Swiss cheese. Seriously? People being out of work, people getting fired, you're losing your benefits, you're losing your 401ks. The cost of living has not gone down. Eggs is $6 for a half dozen. I'm trying to figure out what's good about that. When are we going to start jumping up and down and saying joyous times? Because that's not coming. That is not coming. Even, let me give you something else. Even at the Crawfish Festival this past weekend in Chalmette, how many of you all went out there? A lot of folks say, well, I went out there, but no, I ain't going out there. Yeah, I went out there. Oh, no, I ain't going out there. But at the Crawfish Festival in Chalmette this past weekend, right? Well, guess what hit the news? That one of the vendors sold crawfish tails imported from a foreign country without the required signage. The Louisiana Crawfish Festival became aware of a social media post from St. Bernard Parish residents showing that an outside vendor, unaffiliated with the organization, was selling foreign processed crawfish tails. And becoming aware of the vendor's failure to label the crawfish at foreign imports, festival organizers created additional signs and told each vendor selling shrimp or crawfish to display proper signage. They're out there selling foreign stuff. And you don't know the difference until somebody said, that just don't taste right. Don't taste right. So what do you do? What do you do? I'm trying to see if I can get trying to see, can we get Dr. Sanders to call him? So I don't want to get into a position of, not saying that we got all this stuff that's trustworthy, but it's not. Hell, they even selling foreign crawfish out there at the Crawfish Festival, y'all. Well, one of the vendors didn't tell us. That's your vendor. Ain't that y'all supposed to be doing y'all's due diligence? How'd he get in? Y'all didn't do the due diligence. Organizers did not say where the crawfish in question came from. But Channel 6 reported that them crawfish came from China. They were selling foreign imported shellfish, known as the crawfish capital of the United States. The state government has passed laws aimed at promoting the use and protection of local crawfish that require the labeling of foreign seafood. And they didn't do it. This is a law. Who's going to jail? Nobody. Nobody. So that's why I said foreign information, all this information is information that nobody is checking. And I can guarantee you, just like this information that came out about what happened locally, can you imagine what's going to happen with all the information that's coming out nationally with all this stuff that was supposed to be encrypted? Nothing. Who's checking the checkers? What coming up, y'all? Everybody hold tight.
Hi, I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, making sure that we get the information out. That's what we want to do here. Welcome back. Coming up at 6 o'clock today, the Arnie and Carrie Show. Make sure you check it out. But he's got a few minutes here before he's getting ready to get started, so make sure that I get him in here. The Reverend Dr. Torrance Sanders on the phone with us. Sir, I'm so sorry. I'm just getting you to give us the information, but I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to promote the fact that you got these important conversations happening. How you doing?
Hey, I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me on just for a moment. Yeah, I'm here at Sixth Baptist Church right now. We're at 928 Felicity Street. And, you know, the church is supposed to be a place not just to hear a good sermon, but also to get education about things that matter. And so we are getting ready at 5:30 to start and have a community forum. We're going to have Councilman Oliver Thomas, former Judge Calvin Johnson, State Representative Delisha Boyd, and State Representative Candace Newell, and they will all take turns educating the community on these 4 amendments and why we need to vote on this Saturday. If you haven't voted in early voting already, then why you need to get out. And I'm convinced that the more people hear about what these amendments are about, that they will want to spend a few moments to go and vote. They're saying it's going to be a low voter turnout, but I believe the more we get educated, the more we're going to walk to the poll or drive to the poll or take the bus to the poll and do the right thing. So we invite everybody to come on out. We should be here for at least an hour and a half, maybe more, depending upon the questions and the conversation. But come in here, these elected officials and former elected officials tell you the real deal about these amendments.
Dr. Sanders, is there anything in particular that folks should be, pressing these representatives about here? Because I'm looking at the early voter numbers. Out of 300 and some thousand folks that are registered to vote here in the early voting, only 20,566 showed up.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're not too surprised. We know that this was planned by those who planned and put it on the ballot, knowing that historically these types of times are very low voter turnout. But we can't be sleeping. We definitely have to be woke, even though they don't want us to be awoke.
Right.
We have to be awake because these things deal with One of them says about a specialty court, but they don't tell us what specialty court it can be. I mean, so if people heard and remember what happened in Jackson, Mississippi,
right,
where, the governor created a whole new court system and really disenfranchised the black community of Jackson by giving them judges they didn't vote for. Well, that can happen here if this amendment passes. More of our children could be locked up for crimes that are not currently listed in the Constitution. And there's just a lot of deception in the way the amendments are written. At the very least, civics say at least things should be honest and upfront and clear and forthright when you're trying to get people to vote on something, either for or against.
Right.
And unfortunately, some of these amendments were written like it was a sales pitch rather than objectively. So that's why people need to hear for themselves what's going on.
All right. One more time. Where is it happening in about 5 minutes?
Hey, the Sixth Baptist Church, 928 Felicity Street. That's uptown, right between Magazine and Annunciation Street, not far from the Walmart Tchoupitoulas is where we're located. And we start at 5:30. A lot of distinguished speakers, and we'll be here for at least an hour and a half, if not longer. So come on out.
Very good. I'm gonna let you go because I know you got to get in. I know you're gonna get started on time. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
We try to start on time. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you again.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Alrighty. Bye-bye. That is Dr. Torrance Sanders from the Sixth Baptist Church and also part of this family here at WBOK. Give me the information. Go over there, Felicity Street, Sixth Baptist Church, and get the information for yourself so that you can hear what and you're going to hear from these representatives. I had a chance to over the weekend go to the IWO presentation. In the IWO presentation, I think, let's see who was there. Dr. Bowie's wife. She was there. I saw Ms. Lena Stewart. All the folks that were on the panel, though, they had the heavy hitters on the panel. Jason was on the panel. We saw Delisha on the panel. All those folks that were on the panel, they had about 8-9 people on the panel. And they gave us a whole lot of information about why we should be out here voting for, against, whatever. I can't tell you what to vote for. But they want to make sure that you get the information. And I really do believe that more of that is needed in pockets. Well, what do you mean, Gerard? So let me kind of do my sales pitch. And I think this is important too. Whenever there is something that is coming on the vote for us to be able to vote, I'm not making excuses for folks that don't go vote. I'm not going to make those excuses. But a lot of folks, from what I have heard recently, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, call in with it. I hear a lot of folks that just say, I don't have the time to hear the information. So sometimes what we end up doing is asking somebody else, copying what somebody else does, or not going. Does that make sense? We vote for folks because they got the right last name. And just because you my skin folk don't make you my kinfolk. And just because you're my kinfolk don't necessarily mean you're my skin folk. Vice versa. And then today I had a good conversation with my mama, Miss Roberta. And if you've ever sat down and had a political conversation with Miss Roberta, she'd take you back. She can take you back through history, all the way from the governors, through the mayors, through city council folks. She can take you back and give you all the details. And I was listening to her have that conversation because she said, I had a conversation with younger folks. I think Miss Roberta is 89. And she had a conversation with younger folks. And they said, well, what did you find out? She said, I can tell you why a lot of them just don't go out and vote. Because she said a lot of those folks that are representing the community, those folks that are the elected officials, are antiquated And they do need some young blood in there. They need new, fresh blood. And a lot of those folks feel that they need young, fresh blood because they stay in office 10, 20, 30 years, and really a whole lot does not get done. I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. But when you hear these folks that are staying in these positions 30, 40, 50 years, and some of them are dying in the position, is that important to you to see that you got new young blood? Who are we training to be the next set of folks like the Matt Willards, like the Jason Hugheses, those folks that are going to lead the way in the next millennium? Those folks that have learned and paying dues, that can walk the walk and talk the talk. I'd like to know, who are those next folks? Well, Gerard, you should know. No. I hear that almost every day now. And some people are starting to call me. I don't even know who some of these telephone numbers are. Hey, man, I'm so-and-so. I'm actually calling you on the representation of this. And we'd like to know, do you need some sponsorship to run for office? No. Come on, G. We need you to consider that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Here's why. Number one, I don't play them games. I can't play them games. It's going to be one way or the other. You can't tell me about my lying eyes. You can't tell me about something that you did do, that you didn't do, that you're going to lie about, that you want me to lie for you. No, because I'm not expecting that for you to do that for me. And then my question would be, which y'all would probably see me get thrown out real quick, fast, and in a hurry. My question would be, when is this city that has multi-millions of dollars stop playing like it's broke and then start putting some folks that look like me and you that want to do the work but also get paid? And I want us to stop acting like it is a sin for black people to get paid. What? You ain't doing nothing but lying in your pockets. You better get some money. And that's the question that I always had. When did black people do the work but not get paid? When did we start doing that? When did we start getting criticism for being able to have a talent to get paid? Well, they shouldn't getting paid off the backs of black people. Everybody else has. The difference here is, and this is where I differ, and I hope that you can hear me, and I hope you hear me good. The difference is not getting paid on the backs of black people, but the difference is getting paid for doing something for black people, but also reaching up and grabbing one of those folks' arms, hands, whatever, and bringing them up a level. And when you bring them up a level, you teach them how you got it so they can get it. And I hope it's all above board. But there ain't nothing wrong with everybody making some money. So here's the part that I say I get in trouble about. What's interesting to me is we'll listen to a report about somebody that made six figures. And everybody's going, good Lord, that person made $200,000-$300,000. Y'all think that's some money? I guess if the average person in this city is making somewhere between $35,000 to $38,000 for the whole household, that it is. But have you ever wondered about those folks that got the big old house, they got the $100,000 vehicle, the kids that go to private school, how they can afford that? What do you really think they're doing something illegal, or do you think they're getting their money's worth of who they are and what they have to offer? And then you look around and you wonder why they don't look like you. They not like us, and they not like us. Wop, 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 wop. They not like us. Sometimes you got to step out and show up. But if you have all that coming at you, and you that person that's supposed to be making the money, and those other folks are trying to hold you down, where are the folks that do look like you that's supposed to be standing right with you and saying, we got you, we ain't gonna let that happen? Because they know you separated from them. And they know you can be bought, and then you're going to get out there and start talking about them. Y'all, we are, how many more months? April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We 7 months away from the election, and we got folks already downing some black folks about they ain't done this, they ain't done that, they ain't done that. And we downing the wrong people. No, we're not, Gerard. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. Oh, I forgot. Some people got a big war chest. And you getting crumbs. They going to use you till they can use you up just because. Just because they know you for hire. And you really should be ashamed that you lying to folks to say, I'm an advocate against this one because they ain't done nothing. But what did the other folks do for you? Or should I say for your community? Nothing. Not a damn thing. But you want everybody to hear you to get on the team of the other folks. It's really pathetic. And don't you think that has come about that everybody know? They're not listening to you. And then you wonder why nobody will hire you for a legitimate job. Or why nobody's dealing with you. Or when you walk away, they talk about you. I've been in those conversations before. You walk up, everybody's talking. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. The minute you walk away, I can't stand that bibbity beepity beepity beep. I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, maybe I'm just getting old. Because y'all know tomorrow going to be 1 year older for me. And I'm thinking about it myself. I'm like, yeah, you're getting old. Maybe I'm just getting too old to keep up listening to, dealing with, and seeing the same thing over and over and over. Y'all talk about the people that keep running for different offices and going from one office. But the games that's being played, the same games over and over and over and over again. We don't talk about nobody until it's election time. We don't say this person ain't doing nothing until it's election time, till they want to run for something else. You let that person who has been in office for 3 to 4 years slide until they say they're going to ride and want to go for another office. Then you talk about them like a dog. But where's your advocacy during the person's tenure as that elected official to say you need to have a meeting with us because we're not satisfied with what you're doing? And then when they are running for office, where's your agenda? Hey, look, we are requiring that these people have meetings with us their first 90 days. Every quarter they need to have a meeting with us. None of that is coming up. I got word, and I'm going to say it, but I got word. I don't know this, but I got word that Cindy Wynn thinking about running again. But Cindy Wynn, no matter how you look at it, Cindy Wynn made it a point, whether you liked her or not, to show up, She fed people during the COVID time. And every Sunday, this woman was on Facebook Live, hearing people say, we love what you're doing, and also hearing those people that say, I can't stand your guts. And she took it like a true champ every Sunday. And I'm thinking to myself as I saw some of that, how do you combat that and turn that negativity into positive? How do you take the people that don't like Helena Moreno and turn that into positive? Same thing with Oliver Thomas. Same thing with Judge Hunter. How do you make sure that people understand, hey, this is what I'm going to do? How do we guarantee that the folks that are, having households that are making $38,000 a year, which I think is a shame. Not one person, I'm saying households. How do you make sure that everybody in the household is making $35,000 a year or more? Hopefully more. How do I take business people and stand them behind me that are going to support my candidacy? I'm not making this up. I can't take credit for this. This is a Mark Morial deal. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I thought that was a gangster move. Mark Morial got on a podium one day doing a news conference and had all these business people from engineers and all these other folks standing behind them. And he made it a point to say, y'all see these men and women that are standing behind me? And you can see the camera panning all of them. And he said, I'm going to tell you now that in my bid for mayor, I'm going to make sure that the business community knows that these are legitimate folks that are going to help me do legitimate work. And they more than likely going to do city contract work as well, because we know what we need to do. And those folks, were on board, bam, to do what they needed to do. What's wrong with that? Jefferson Parish does it all the time. Jefferson Parish got contractors that mess up stuff, and they got a list of folks that they know that they can go to get work done. Why don't we have a list? Why don't we have straight street pavers from other places in the world, other than that same 20 crew that do some good work but don't do excellent work? Oh, I forgot. We $800 million short for money because $2 billion is missing. Well, out of the $200 billion that's missing, $800 million we short. But what's interesting to me is that all I heard through other advocacies not advocacies, through other radio hosts, all they wanted to do was sit up there and talk bad about the mayor. Oh, she didn't do this. Oh, she didn't do that. Oh, boo, 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 boo. Oh, boo, 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 boo. Because all you really wanted to do, not talk about the issue, you just wanted to talk about her. Couldn't get her through in the Patalba, though. No matter how you look at her, she is the person in charge. And she pissed y'all off from the day one that she told them people at the Jefferson Parish Business Council that I am not opening up the city and you didn't elect me. From that day forth, I was like, oh, Lord, that's Minnie Ray Nagin talking about something. It's a chocolate city and there ain't nothing you can do about it. God made it that way. I know Ray gonna call me up and say, man, why you throw me in there? Oh, Lord. I think that we have got to be able to say, these are the things as a community, that's what we need. This is what we want. And stop playing games. We can't. You can't. Can't keep playing games. All right, more coming up, y'all. Final few minutes before we get out of here. Everybody hold tight.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. What happens when top officials discuss military plans in a group chat and accidentally included journalists? This is a situation facing the Trump administration after it was revealed that senior cabinet members used a messaging app to talk about secret military operations in Yemen, inadvertently adding a reporter to the conversation. The chat, which included Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and even the Vice President, discussing sensitive strike plans against Houthi militants, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The use of an unclassified app like Signal for such documents has raised serious concerns about national security, with many officials shocked by the breach. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt attempted to downplay the situation, labeling the journalists involved as a sensationalist. However, the fact remains that the group chat potentially shared classified information. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
You know, it's no surprise that Donald Trump would do the unthinkable. He signed a vile, senseless, hateful executive order to remove the ban on segregation facilities in federal contracts. Yeah, you heard me right. He wants to allow segregation. His executive order means that segregated facilities like restrooms, restaurants, and drinking fountains are okay for federal contractors if they should opt to use the policy. This takes me back to the onerous days of Jim Crow, when there were separate facilities for black and white people. I can personally attest to the hate and cruelty of such a policy. When I was a young child, I was beaten for drinking out of a water fountain designated for whites only. The segregation policy okayed by Trump is limited to federal contractors and is in essence only symbolic. Federal and state law still outlaw discrimination in the country. Even so, the Trump administration's removal of the 1965 ban against segregation in federal contractor facilities is a shot across the bow of civil rights. It is an indication of just how far the Republican president will go in his hateful effort to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion in the federal government and the private sector. In this particular case, the policy only applies to U.S. government contractors, but telling everyone, especially those spending our tax dollars, that it's okay to segregate is not okay. This is an attack on race, though Trump and his GOP allies vehemently deny that their actions are rooted in racism. To that I say to them, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. And tell Donald Trump he can take that apartheid South African racist Elon Musk back to South Africa. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Welcome to The Community Scientist. I'm excited to bring you our quarterly review of the latest research. If you live or work in St. James, St. John's, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard parishes, it's vital that you have access to clear, objective information about lead, hexavalent chromium, and cadmium, and how these substances impact your health and our natural environment. The Community Scientist is a service program of Rise St. James, supported by our dedicated TCS research team. To learn more, visit risestjames.org.
Talk That. NOLA Education is all about awareness. Don't forget to get out and vote in the upcoming election taking place Saturday, March 29th. Polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Be sure to bring your picture ID. Read about the amendments so that you can make an informed decision.
WBOK 1230 AM online at WBOK1230.com. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Final few minutes before we get out of here for the Arnie and Carrie show coming up at 6 o'clock. Make sure you check them out. They're going to be talking more about those amendments coming up in just about 10 minutes. Before I get out, I do want to do this. Because I have not said too much about it, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to jinx it, and I really felt that I would have. But the city of New Orleans, the Orleans Parish School Board folks, have come up with their 2 finalists to become the next school superintendent for Orleans Parish. The board's votes leaves just Fatima Fulmore, the interim NOLA public school superintendent, and Sharon Latin Clark, the longtime leader of Sophie B. Wright, an elected state board of education member, in the mix for next NOLA public school superintendent. Both candidates received votes from the full board. The third candidate was interviewed, Dedrick Sims. He did not receive any votes from the board. Sims, the only semifinalist from out of town, is the CEO of a Denver-based nonprofit that aims in helping young men of color. I say this to those 2 ladies, congratulations, I think. And I say congratulations because I think it's because of the fact that we are still dealing with finding out how in the world that the Orleans Parish School Board come into this $50 million financial crisis, which is interesting to me that nobody's really saying, here's how we got here. It's interesting to me because I haven't heard publicly, this is why we have Orleans or a Office of Inspector General. Nobody's put the watchdog on the money that's supposed to be watched. It's interesting to me that the person that found that there was some money missing in the past as an educator, as she was the head of a school, was not even considered in that parameter. And I am talking about our very own Dr. Shante Wyatt, since she's the one that made sure that there wasn't any corruption with the monies that's supposed to go toward these schools or go to these kids to educate them. You would think that we would, as people, as educators, as folks that are sitting on boards, be applauding her for her effort to stop the corruption. And she didn't even make it to the finals. Might be a little blackball in there too, huh? But nevertheless, I think it is also, before you put these 2 ladies in place and this $50 million that seems to be a financial crisis, as you call it, before you put them in place, don't you think it's in the right for the board to tell us what happened to this $50 million? Have you requested that there be an investigation from the Office of Inspector General? And of course, what is it that makes you say that this is okay and let's move on? And you tax the city of Orleans Parish to get you more money, but no answers to what happened to the money in the first place. Nobody's making a big stink about it. Y'all, like I said, if $50 is missing out of my bank account, I want to audit. We got $50 million that has been called a financial crisis and a shortfall. How did we get to a shortfall if your job is to divvy up the money to all the charter schools every year and you give them the money? How did we get to a $50 million crisis when you don't control the money in the first place? You control it when it comes to you, but you send it out to the schools, the charter schools. How did we get to this $50 million crisis? Can somebody explain that to me? Well, operating budgets and cover about half of the projected $50 million budget gap. I want to hear that. I want to hear where the money went. Well, that accounting error blew a hole in the New Orleans school system. Really? Did y'all fire the accountant? Because what I understand, the accountant's on the school board. Did y'all fire him? Was that Avis? I don't think that Avis Williams is an accountant. I need answers. And I think you do too. And to my school teachers, I understand y'all looking for somebody to blame and it has become the mayor. But that ain't the mayor that you need to blame right now. Y'all need to find out where the money went with an accounting error. That's another conversation for another time, ain't it? All right, Carrie and Arnie coming up next. And make sure you check out because they got all this information they want to share with you about this amendment. That's going to wrap things up for me. We'll see you tomorrow right here at WBOK.
WBOK.